girls, a little video to help you with punctuation for direct speech and reporting clauses. I want you to have a positive mindset with this, and I want you to start off thinking, grade 4 agreed, we love grammar. You're using your whole heart to do this, your whole focus, so that this little aspect of grammar you will know. You will be secure in your knowledge. If you do it with half a heart, you won't really know it and it will haunt you forever. So give this your whole focus and just think about it. I'm going to try and explain it and say things so that it sticks in your mind, okay? So we're learning to use speech marks correctly in our writing, and we will know what is direct speech and what is a reporting clause. You will be looking at two passages, one to identify the different marks and one to correct it yourself to show your learning. So you have to write the second one out using all the correct spacing and marks that you need, okay? So, direct speech and reporting clause. Direct speech is only the words spoken. You can only hear the words I'm saying to you. I do not say, said Miss Agnes. Okay, so you'd only write that in your speech marks. The reporting clause is the part of that sentence which tells you who said what and how. Okay, so the man said this, and he said it by whispering, okay? And what he's saying is in the speech, okay? So who said this? The man whispered. That's how he said it, okay? And a lot of speech does have a reporting clause, but occasionally you just have the speech, okay? And I'm sure when you look through your reading books that you're reading and everything, magazines, whatever, you will notice that more now, okay? So what do you already know? I want you to realise that you already know a lot about this. So let's get that positive mindset really working. I know you all, and I believe that all of you already know that only the words spoken by someone are placed inside speech marks. Well done for using speech marks, said the teacher to the class. That's me saying that to you, hopefully. But we need to make sure that we've got it accurate. Okay, so we need to look at capital letters, commas, exclamation marks, and all those things. So let's go and investigate. Be a detective. There are rules. There's 4 main rules. Rule number 2 has kind of got 2 bits to it, but have a little look. Have a look. The first rule is a capital letter must come after the opening speech marks. So there's a speech mark, and then there's a Z or a Z, depending on how you say it. There's no space between them. They come exactly close together. Have a look. A cat, a cat. Opening speech mark A, opening speech mark A, every single time. So make sure you, if you think about A, B, C, D, you must use your capital letters for this, okay? If you look at this rule number 2, before the closing one, now we've looked at the opening quotation, the opening speech marks, a capital comes there. At the end, there's equally something you need to remember. So before the end, just plant that in your mind. Before the end closing mark, you put your punctuation, depending on how the person is speaking. If they need an exclamation mark, if they're asking a question, if it's a pause, a comma, or if you look at the last sentence and the third sentence is the speech at the end, and that's where your full stop will come as well. For the speech, before the speech mark. So say to yourself right now, punctuation before the closing speech marks, okay? Just fix it in your head. Capital letter inside, punctuation inside. That's all you need to remember. That is so simple. Look through this. Now this is this rule 3, which is kind of like rule 2, which is for the reporting clause, you will only use either a comma or a full stop. Okay, so look, the man asked. There's the comma after the reporting clause, asked. And if you look at the reporting clause in the second sentence, where the man asked is at the end of the sentence, it's a full stop. That makes it easier, okay? Pretty soon you won't think about these things if you're really thinking hard on this. So you've got to realise the man asked, take a pause. Then you can put on your voice for his voice if you like, okay? But take a pause before the speech, okay? So think of that. You will save yourself a lot of work and misery and mistakes and lost marks if you really focus on this, boys and girls. The reason I'm saying to focus on this is because if you don't, your brain will have 2 answers, you won't know which is right, and you might even have a third answer, and you're always going to struggle with this. Whereas if you just set everything aside, focus on this, do it, then it will always be there. You're going to make it easy, okay? So, and this is easy. This is very, very straightforward. People will look at your writing and they will know straight away, are you a good writer or are you someone that doesn't really bother about the accuracy, okay? So this is a discipline. So here we've got an example of using a new line, rule 4, for every time a new speaker speaks. So we've got the narrative. It was a sunny day, setting the scene. It was a sunny day, perfect for a day out on a picnic, and I went to see her dad. Speech, capital letter, comma, closing speech marks, said the girl, comma, because she's continuing to speak, speech marks, capital letter, even though it's in the middle of a sentence. These are the rules, don't question them. And then the full stop before the closing speech marks. And then Dad replies on a new line, and then it goes back to the narrative on a new line. Stick to these and you'll be a happy person, and so will the person that's looking at your work. It also makes it look as if you've written a lot more, so space it out. So a little recap, you can read that through. There's some good examples. Remember these rules, okay? Remember them. So you're now going to look at the passage which has been attached. So please do this in order. And here are the instructions. Use a highlighter or pencil or 5 different colours if you can to highlight these 5 criteria. So first, the speech marks, opening and closing. Draw a circle around them if it's not a highlighter. Capital letters, draw a circle around it if it's not a highlighter. Only at the beginning of the speech, not all the other ones, okay? Because we're only looking at the speech for this. You want to identify, and each time you're doing it, you want to say that's inside the speech marks for the end marks for the speech, okay? And then the end mark, or sorry, that should say full stops at the end of the reporting clause. Circle those, highlight them, and tell yourself that's at the end of the reporting clause. Don't just mindlessly do the mark, actually talk yourself through it. Self-talk is your brain implanting it into your mind, so use that. Use an asterisk or a star where a new line has been taken for a new speaker. When you do this, if you find this really hard, then you haven't interacted with this PowerPoint and this video, and so you haven't learned it. So you can see what I mean by embedding it. So what to do, stop it, go back to the PowerPoint, go back to the video, whichever one you prefer, and actually take notes. Talk yourself through it, okay? Put me on mute and you present this, okay? Present it to your family, but work with it. Then this will be easy. This activity should be very, very easy. So if it's not, you know that you have not understood what we're talking about, okay? So go back and do it again. It's fine, not a problem. Here we are now. Think about what are the grammar rules for direct speech. This is what you will be doing at some point, but I'm going to have to work that one out. So task 2, you now have a different passage from the story to copy out and correct. So you need to copy it out because you have to change spacing and you'll have to put in missing speech marks, capital letters and commas, and also to take a new line from each, if there's new speech or the narrative. Final slide, grade 4A. You can do this. You can all be experts at this. This is not rocket science. This is not something complicated. It's something you can tick off your list and say, I know it. I can do it. I don't need to think about it. I've learned it. So learn it once and learn it forever, okay? Again, don't confuse your brain. You want to be confident. You get confidence from doing things correctly, okay? So do this correctly. Be awesome. Be a future adult with brilliant, accurate knowledge, because it's one of the quickest ways that people can see, are you good for this job or not, okay? Now go and practice a fun activity. I've put a link for all the punctuations. I'm hoping that we can create one of our class doing this, so have fun with it. This should be fun. This should give you confidence. This should make you say, oh, I finally understand everything I need to about speech punctuation, and I've learned a little bit about what is a reporting clause. Remember, a clause is only part of a sentence. It can be a sentence, okay? So good luck, have fun. I think this is super easy, so be with me. Think this is easy, but do the learning. Embed it in your head by interacting. Bye, boys and girls.